Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this very special in-depth chat looking at non-league football, following on from some of the more recent EFL conversations we've had. And with Lockdown 2 now firmly underway, we wanted to shine a light on some of the real heroes of the game, and that is those at non-league. I'm joined by regular contributor Nige. Good evening, sir.
Evening, Stephen.
I'm absolutely delighted to say that we're joined by Steeton AFC manager Roy. Good evening.
Good evening, Stephen. You well?
Very well, thank you very much, sir. And we're also joined by non-league fan and groundhopper Martyn. Good evening, sir.
Hi, you right?
Very well, thank you. Thank you all for joining me tonight. And Roy, we will start with you, if I may. Steeton AFC in the Northwest Counties League. Season's now being derailed. I believe you played 5, 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses in the first 5, sitting 13th in the division, I believe, when it all got cut short. How important was it, first of all, to have football back? And then what does it mean that it's gone again, even for this short period?
Well, to be honest, Stephen, I think first of all, to get football back was a massive boost for us because we'd gone from March with not playing anything. Our league didn't start till the 3rd of October, so we were a little bit behind a lot of other leagues in starting. And, you know, it just felt like we'd got going. You know, we'd got a bit of a new side. We've got a little bit of momentum. We'd had 5 tough away games because our new ground's not quite ready yet. But it'd been a good start for us initially. You know, we played very well against Bury in the first game of the season. Then followed it up with a good win and a draw. Unfortunately, the last 2 games before lockdown, we didn't perform as well as we'd like to do. But it was a sort of a bit of a kick in the teeth, really, because, you know, we felt that we were starting to get together. The new lads were gelling, and we had the new home ground of Marley to look forward to. So that's been taken away from us, and as a club, it's probably left us now. We haven't had a home game since last March.
Well, something you said there was obviously you've played Bury, and we all know the sad story that is Bury, unfortunately. Does having them in your league shine a light a little bit, because there is still that sort of media exposure to their story, and then that might drip into yourselves and the other teams in the league?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, there's it's like anything. When somebody comes in where they've got a bit of a name and a bit of a reputation, it can work both ways. But from a personal perspective, I was delighted when Bury came in because I think they do put that extra spotlight on the league. There's a lot more interest in the Northwest Counties. There's a lot more interest in non-league football when you get a former league club coming in there. And for us as a club, we were absolutely delighted when we were pulled out to play the first game of the season because we knew there'd be a lot of media interest on us as well. And, you know, Nigel Telly was at the game as well. We were up against a very good side, and I thought we equipped ourselves really well in the game, and very unlucky not to get certainly something out of the game when we conceded right the death in injury time. But, you know, you look back and we won a lot of plaudits for the way we played, and a lot of people on the back of that, you know, started to know who Steeton were as well. You know, a lot of Bury fans, and I think we made a few good friends that day. So, you know, I think for us, having an ex-football league club, or, you know, people that have built a new club on the back of a football league club, I think it's fantastic. You know, so you could see the atmosphere that was there. There was a full house, unfortunately, due to COVID. There probably wasn't the 2,000 or so that there would have been normally. But, you know, for our lads, normally they're used to playing in front of maybe sort of between 80 and 120, but, you know, to play in front of 300 and the noise that they made as well was a fantastic experience for everyone. So I think it's great.
One of the things, those that have watched some of the earlier conversations that particularly myself and Nige have been involved in, they'll know our supporting backgrounds and who we back generally. And there is a lot of media exposure to the fact that there are no fans at the moment. Could see more and more EFL clubs going out of business. But from a non-league perspective, you know, we're talking step 5, step 6, step 7, that sort of. Because you were allowed to have fans and now you're closed again. Is there a concern that we will see a lot of these lesser known clubs start disappearing? And without going into the specifics, obviously, how are things generally at your team?
Well, just on the wider perspective, I think, yes, there will be a lot of clubs in danger because clubs simply cannot function without supporters. And it's not just supporters paying their entrance money, because those are usually quite nominal fees. But it's the money they spend in the ground as well, having a couple of pints, having a pie, having a beer, maybe buying a pin badge, all that kind of thing. It's the extras that add up. And when you haven't got that, it's really difficult. And also coupled with that as well, most of the non-league teams will have suffered with sponsorship because they're not sponsored by big international companies. Most clubs are sponsored by local businessmen. It's maybe chipping in 100 quid here, a couple of hundred quid there. And if some of those people have pulled out as well, there's lots of sponsorship for these teams. So it's really difficult at the moment for clubs to survive. But on your second point with Steeton, Steeton and the club, we're only in our third season playing this level of football. We've always run it as a self-sustainable club. We don't really pay our players, so they'll get a little bit of expense money, but we're certainly not a big payer like some clubs are in our league. So, we don't have big outgoings on that side of things. We live beyond our means. Live to our means. We don't spend what we can't afford. So we're probably one of the few clubs that actually, yes, it would be a stretch for us, but probably could afford to play the season without fans. I wouldn't want to, but it wouldn't kill us. But for some clubs, certainly, yes, it would. It'd be the nail in the coffin for them.
Listen, I appreciate the honesty of the answer. It's really helpful, I think, to people to know exactly what is going on the further down the period. On the wider scheme of things, as I alluded to at the start, I'm very fortunate that because of my location, it's been a pleasure. I've been to 4 or 5 AFC Hinckley games this season, based in Leicestershire, where I am. And I'll be honest, it's been refreshing, to get out, that the fans embrace me. They know I'm not a local as such. They know I'm not a diehard supporter of the club, but they embrace me. They don't treat me as an outsider. They know I'm there to support their team while I am there. And the community feel of it, is superb. That thankfully they moved this season. They're closer to the town of Hinckley now. But I mean, just as an example, I put on the team's Facebook page last season that someone had knitted these little team bears. They're not for sale. It's not like they've mass produced. Someone had done this in their own spare time. And I happened to mention that my son really liked the picture of it. Next time we went to a game together, they gave him one because that's what non-league fans are like. They are the unsung heroes of football. And I know, Nige, when we've spoke sort of off camera, if you like, you've said the same about some of the non-league games you've been to.
Yeah, it goes beyond the game sort of thing. It's a case of you get taken into the clubhouse at whatever club you're visiting, and they treat you well. Most of them, obviously, not everybody's fantastic, but 99% are, and you get treated like you get treated like gods. Really, sometimes we'll get you a program. What do you want to drink? There's none of this rivalry that you get in the EFL. It's a case of you're there. They're absolutely over the moon that you're spending money in their club, and I love it, mate. I think it's fantastic. I mean, some of the grounds are really interesting, and the places you go and finding the grounds. It's no different to going away with an EFL club. You still travel. You've got to find your way to the grounds. You meet some interesting people. You have a good laugh. But you're not stuck in a plastic seat with loads of people stood over you, waiting for you to cough wrong and telling you off. Or you understand what I mean? There's a lot more freedom, especially during lockdown. When it came back, the first week it came back, I went to 4 games in 5 days. That's how much I miss it. So I prefer it, to be honest. I mean, you were saying about myself and you were we started watching non-league games. I mean, I've gone to non-league football all my life, but I've been going a lot more regular in the last 2 or 3 years. As Roy will tell you, since they came into the Northwest Counties, I've been going down to watch them, and you become more involved, and you start you start doing things off your own back to try and help the clubs, not just Steeton as well. I'll help anybody at that level. So yeah, it's brilliant.
Absolutely. And Martyn, if I bring you in at this stage, because you'll probably do it a better service than me and Nige possibly could, because you are a groundhopper.
Yeah.
What is it about non-league that interests you and you enjoy so much? And what are some of the places you've been that you have enjoyed going to?
Well, I'm actually a fan of an EFL club, so I took up ground hopping when my team Exeter City were away. So it's kind of, I could go to non-league and then I could kind of still do the EFL thing. But since lockdown, I've actually bought a season ticket at a local non-league club, actually 2 non-league clubs. And they're just, like Nige said, you treat it like a god when you go into the clubhouses. Everyone's really welcoming. I've been on away days with Exeter, and although people are nice, they know you're not going to come back again. You're only there for the couple hours, and then they don't really care about you again. But I've been to Plymouth Parkway this season with Exmouth, and I went for their FA Cup game, and from a lad who's from Exeter, considering they're right on the doorstep of Argyle, they've been really welcoming. There's not been any problems. I would fully recommend it to anyone, any AFL fan or Premier League fan, to get out and go to their local club. It's a breath of fresh air, and you're not stuck in a box. Instead of paying £15 to watch it at the cinema or on your telly, you can have a pie, you can have a pint, you meet people. It's brilliant. It's genuinely fantastic, and I'd fully recommend it.
I honestly couldn't have worded it better myself. Everything you said there is exactly what I've experienced, and it sounds like it's what Nige experienced, and it sounds like it's what Roy lives with his team. It's been great for me to be able to go and watch some non-league, to go and watch some live football. And for all the people who have this stigma about non-league and semi-professional and things like that, honestly, some of the best games I have watched live in the last, I'm not sure how long I've been going to watch Hinckley now, 4 years, 5 years, something like that. Some of the best games I've been to see live have been non-league games, just for the drama, because it is a level playing field, and you don't have none of this Aston Villa beating Liverpool 7-3 nonsense. You don't have none of this VAR. It's just real fans, real passion, and genuine entertainment for a reasonable price. And I, like Martyn said, I recommend it highly. If we can turn our attention to some of the sides in non-league that have shone the light this weekend just gone in the FA Cup. Before I look at some of the results and the draws for those teams, I'd just like to give an honourable mention. And given your location, Martyn, maybe you're the best person to come to for Torquay 5, Crawley 6.
Yeah, it's Torquay are always surprising. There's never a dull moment down on the coast there. It was something like a computer game. I was watching it live, and I've got a few Torquay friends, and they've got quite a gallows sense of humour down there. But it's just fair play to Torquay and Crawley. It's probably the best game of the weekend. There's a couple extra players on show, so it was, but that's going back to the non-league thing. That's what it's like. You never know what's going to happen in non-league, and it's the magic of the cup is there. As I'm sure Royal detest, is there every weekend. You never know what's going to happen, and it's the players go all the way to the 90 minutes. There's none of this, I've got to try and rest myself for the Champions League or for X, Y, Z, or I've got international duty. It's, you get out what you put in non-league football, and talking, and even Crawley, who are lower league side, testament to that. The same with, I would say, Hayes and Yedding as well, actually, are another example this round. I think fair play to them for everything they did.
Just echoing what Martyn says there, I think, in football, especially when you're a manager, you have a lot of tough days. And when the good days come round, they don't half feel good. And I looked at the footage from the Chorley dressing room after they'd beaten Wigan yesterday, and I just thought, that is what football is all about. All those hard nights on the training ground when it's wet and it's cold and it's horrible. What a great set of lads they are. They're not there for the money or for the glory or anything. They were there because they want to be there, and it was the magic of the FA Cup was massively alive there. And I could relate to that, whether it's, whatever level you are, to have those kind of days where you go somewhere where you're not fancied, and to put a win together like that, those lads will be, to coin a football phrase, they'll be on cloud 9 for the rest of this week. that was what it was all about. And that sort of little clip that I saw on Twitter, I thought that just epitomises everything about non-league football for me.
No, without question, that there were some unbelievable scenes. As they always say about the magic of the cup, and even without fans, it was clearly still evident. If we have a look at some of the teams that managed to progress, and Nige would not allow me not to start with Darlington beating Swindon 2-1 away from home. Congratulations, Darlington. I'd like to sort of
Did they win
that one as best as I can, if I may. But
did Darlington win? I didn't know they'd won. Honest to God,
my phone wasn't going off all weekend.
Did they actually beat Swindon?
They did.
That's shocking, that, Stephen, isn't it, really? It's terrible. And what did we do? Did we win 7-0? We won 7-0, didn't we?
You did, yes. And but honestly, our track record against non-league clubs is awful. So, with obviously Richie Wellens, I was expecting to kind of go out in a way, but they're going back to the West Country. They've been drawn Bristol Rovers away, so good luck to them, and hopefully they'll get to round 3. Nothing would bring me more joy at this stage than to say that we got knocked out by the eventual winners. So good luck, Darlington.
What I was going to say was about Skelmersdale, really, to see them on TV on Friday night. I watched quite a bit of it at Harrogate. It's just blew my mind, to be honest. I've been watching North West Counties League football, to see them on BT Sport, and they're a division above Steeton, and it must have been absolutely amazing for them to do that. I know it's happened before; it's not a new thing. But when you go to North West Counties Step 10 games, and then you see Skelmersdale getting to first round, it just shows you what you can achieve. And it'd be great if Roy could get Steeton up a division so we could take part, because obviously it starts in the North West Counties Premier division, does the FA Cup and the extra qualifying round. And the division we're in at the moment, we don't take part in that competition, unfortunately. But
we can do, actually, Nige. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. It depends how many places are up for grabs, and actually, daft as it sounds this year, if we'd have applied for the FA Cup, we would have probably got in it.
Oh,
because
wow.
a lot of clubs didn't actually apply this season because of COVID.
Right.
So, yeah, we probably would have got in. But I think had it finished last year, it goes on a points per game basis as well. So
right.
There are clubs from our level that can get in. And I think last year the top 5 in our league would have got in.
Well, you learn something every day. I'm glad you told me that. So stop me making a fool of myself on Twitter.
But just going back to your point about Skelmersdale as well, I didn't see too much of the game, if I'm honest, but just to have a team from our league in there, and I thought, again, credit to the North West Counties and the standard of football, and make no mistake, Harrogate Town are a good football team. I think they'll be sort of challenging in around the playoffs in League 2 this season. They're on a bit of a roll. They're a good, strong side. So no disgrace at all for Skelmersdale to go there and lose 4-1.
No, they didn't do any worse than Bradford City, did that for sure?
No. Listen, I'm hoping we're going to have a night without talking about Bradford City.
Listen, let's look at some of the other teams to give them all the exposure they deserve. Stockport won 2-1 away at Rochdale, and if I'm right, that had one of the goals of the round from the halfway line from someone by the name of Rooney.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, go on. You take it, Martin.
No, yeah, unreal goal was probably the goal of the competition so far, I'd say.
The lowest ranked team left in it are Canvey Island, I believe. They also won 2-1 away. They won at Banbury. And they've got an all non-league tie at Boreham Wood. So there is definitely one non-league side in round 3.
Yeah, I think there's going to be 2 as well. Who have Marine got, Stephen, in the next round?
Yeah, they're further down the list. They've got Havant and Waterlooville after beating Colchester on penalties. So hopefully, there'll be a couple of Prem v non-league sides coming in round 3.
So I think, to be fair to Marine, that was one of the results of the round, and I think that one's gone a little bit under the radar. But that was a fantastic result for Marine going to Colchester and winning.
Fair play to Kings Lynn. They beat Port Vale 1-0, and they've got for what is available in rounds 1 and 2, something of a glamour tie away at Portsmouth.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's probably the best draw any club's got in from non-league.
It's a
tough one.
Sweet tie, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you've got something like Portsmouth, but then you can't get the revenue from it.
Yeah, that's true. Brackley went through on penalties, and they're away to Tranmere, and Dagenham and Redbridge beat Grimsby. They've also got an away tie at Mansfield. So 2 winnable games, I think, there for the non-league sides.
yeah. I mean, I watched Charlie at Wigan yesterday, wasn't it? And even before the sending off, they were well within the game. They nearly took the lead, and then they nearly pulled one back before the sending off. They don't look like they fear anybody. And I quite fancy them at Peterborough in the next round, to be honest. It's a tough game for them, but they don't look like they're bothered who they're playing, to be honest.
No, completely agree. And when they're going to a team that are currently sitting top of League One, they've got nothing to lose. None of these, essentially, non-league sides have anything to lose going to any EFL club. And that is the joy of it. And I fully expect a third, if not half, of these clubs to qualify for the next round.
Yeah. We spoke about that, didn't we, in the EFL in his EFL chat that we'll be doing again at the end of the month. Is it the end of the month? Yeah. So check that out, everybody. Because there's no fans in, that there'll probably be a lot more cup upsets, and as we get into the Premier League sides in the third round and the Championship sides, because there's no fans in, it's just a team against a team, isn't it? So you can take those variants out of it, which again, obviously, it'll work in Premier League sides' favour when they go to non-league sides as well, I guess. But I think it's going to be interesting this season to see what happens, see how far a small club can go.
Solihull have got Morecambe in the next round after surviving against 10-man Scunthorpe. Even though people will say they were against 10 men, again, it's not easy to beat 10 men. You know, we've all watched clubs at any level play against 10 men, and it's never easy. So to come through that is massive for them. And Barnet did it the other way round. They had 10 men and they beat Burton, and they've now got MK Dons in the next round. So I think, you know, full credit to all of these sides for A, getting the job done, and B, you know, shining the light on non-league, because some of the sides that are further down the pyramid that we were talking about, they essentially shouldn't be training. They essentially shouldn't be playing because they're not elite. Yet they've had the dispensation to do so because they've earned it in the FA Cup. I don't know if any of you have got it to hand. At the time of talking, I believe Oxford City, who are still in the FA Cup as well, they're playing Northampton tonight. If they win, they're away to Shrewsbury. You know, good luck to them. Northampton isn't easy. Shrewsbury won't be easy. But again, there's no reason they can't get a result.
Yeah, it's 1-1 at the moment, Stephen. Northampton scored first and they equalised straight away. Oxford City, so they're well in the game there. Well, I was going to say, you were talking about the FA Cup draw, the FA Cup next round, and basically whether clubs can train or not. I mean, I know it's not going to be easy, but I'd like to ask Roy what he thought about that FA U-turn, which was basically a U-turn within about 2.5 hours, where they suddenly realised, these non-elite teams, which is a ridiculous term, aren't going to be able to train before the next FA Cup match. I mean, we're used to these sort of decisions from people in authority in football, but it just seems to just back of a fag packet sort of thing this season. But just wanted to ask Roy, see what he thought about teams having, how he thought they will deal with that situation, and if you could just give us some insight into how it was with players training separately before the season started in September.
Yeah, I mean, just first of all, on your first point, Nige, with the FA U-turn, nothing surprises you. And it was almost as if they've made a decision, then after making the decision, suddenly realised, hold on, we've got some teams below this level actually competing. What do we do here? And I think fully, probably the FA being the FA, probably expected most of these teams that were below the elite level to have fallen by the wayside this weekend. And unfortunately, they haven't. They've still kept going. So I think for these clubs, I'm not sure where it lies with regards to training before they play the next round, whether they can train or, they're back to normal regulations. But certainly for clubs below that elite level, it's really difficult at the moment to train because, first of all, there's no facilities open to do it. So we're very limited now with what we can actually get our players to do. All our players, for example, have been given a programme now by our fitness coach, Paul Royston. He's worked out little things and they have to report back into us what they've done. But we're very much reliant on them doing it themselves and, and putting it in. And I also know whether you're talking about professional footballers or amateur footballers, some players are not very good individually training. They need to have that person with them to actually push them on, to spur them a little bit. So, and also the camaraderie of things, you can't work on anything. All you're doing is fitness training. In fairness, when we had the first lockdown, it was a lot easier because, especially when it was just going out to exercise once a day, the players were probably at the fittest then because they were really utilising that time well. It was when other things started to open up that I think some of the fitness then dropped off because they had other things to do. But whilst the lockdown was on, that was the only thing they had to do. So when they came back from pre-season, they were actually quite fit generally. One or two maybe not as fit, but at the moment it's really difficult because there's very limited daylight hours as well. So bar actually running, that's pretty much all these lads can do. And we've said to them, all right, it might be unlikely that we start early December, but you've all got to be in a position that if we do get the green light to go, that you might not have the luxury this time of any friendly games. You might hit the road, so they've got to do it. But it's not easy because certainly you can't work on any shape. And a little exclusive for you, Nige, we've actually hoping to sign 3 players within this mini lockdown. We've been talking to a few lads over the last few days, but normally we were looking to integrate them into training sessions, but we're having to introduce them to the group via WhatsApp, which is a little bit different to say the least.
That's good news, Roy. Looking forward to that.
Yeah,
and,
hopefully it will be for everybody. Yeah,
I can't wait for it to come back, and hopefully, as soon as this vaccine comes along, we can get back to some sort of normality and carry on with season. Go on, Martyn, what was going to say?
Was there something you wanted to say there as well?
Yeah, going back to the elite and non-elite, I think I'm a season ticket holder at Exmouth Town, who play at the same sort of level as Roy's side, but I'm also a season ticket holder at Step 3, Taunton Town. In the last qualifying round, we played Tunbridge Angels, who unfortunately lost to Nigel Bradford, away. Their average attendance last season before lockdown was, I think, 607. Taunton's was 603, but no fans could attend. I don't understand the authorities thinking behind the elite and non-elite. I don't see why I'm safer being stood at our the Signet Stadium than I wouldn't have been at Tunbridge. It's crazy. It's punishing teams. It's punishing teams higher up the pyramid, and it's. I know. I was going to
say that they did it by the ground grading requirements of each league rather than capacity percentage. So they did a percentage of the grade grounding. I don't know who came up with that one. It must be something to do with, is it the DMCS government department that came up with that one, because it just seems crazy. Because you get really big clubs, can't let anybody in, and then smaller clubs can let more in than they normally get. And they have been as well.
A prime example of what you're saying there, and I don't know the exact figures, so please forgive me if I get this wrong. But Hinckley, as I say, they moved into their new ground for this season, and they are allowed to have 300 fans, or before lockdown, were allowed 300 fans at the game. Now, their attendances have actually been going up, I believe, this season because they're a bit closer to the town. But Barwell, the team they share with, the ground share, or the owners of the ground, so it's the exact same ground, they're allowed, I think it's twice that, possibly even a bit more. How can the same ground hold a different amount of people? I mean, now I'm not saying Hinckley would get 600-700 people there, but I don't understand how the exact same building can have 2 different amounts of people in it. It makes no sense to me.
They had they had it, Stephen, in the FA Vase and Trophy competition as well. That and with friendlies before the season started, that teams were playing higher step teams at home rather than away, so they could have fans. They could have fans if they played them at home, but not if they played them away. It's just absolutely crazy. I mean, it's. I mean, we know there's a lot of stuff that don't make sense at the moment, but that particular one's just nuts, really. And
listen, I'm conscious of the time, so I want to take the opportunity. Thanks again, Nige, for helping sort this all out. I hope this will be the first of a few of these we get to do. For any non-league fan, player, staff, anyone who wants to come on and just shine a light on your team for 15, 20 minutes, much like Roy has done. We thank you very much for joining us and talking, and we hope you get back out on the pitch soon and get the lads together and get the new players integrated quickly. And for people like Martyn, who are heavily investing money into non-league when the opportunity arises, we hope that you're able to get back out there and enjoying football very, very soon. But no, thank you all for joining me for this, and I really appreciate it.
no problem.
Yeah, no problem. Can I just say, Steve, as well, first of all, thanks for inviting me on tonight. And for anybody out there that hasn't been to a non-league game and would like to try one, please get yourself down and watch your local non-league side. You know, as Nigel and Martyn have said, supporters are treated, really well when they come down. We're grateful for any supporter that actually spends their hard-earned cash coming to watch us. And you'll be made to feel part of the club, It's a great community. We've got down at Steeton, and I'm sure it's the same with everybody else. So if you've not tried it, get yourself down, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy it and you'll be embraced by everybody down there.
No, definitely. And any last words from you there, Martyn, just to add to it before we finish?
No, just echoing what Roy just said. Just anybody within the Southwest community. We're not lucky enough to have the Arsenals or the Manchester Uniteds. All we've got is three, four professional clubs within the Southwest. So non-league really is. It's on your doorstep. It's brilliant. Just honestly, it improves your mental health. You get out, you meet people. It's fantastic. I fully recommend it.
No,
Can I ask Martyn how many grounds he's managed to do? Just the last 30 seconds.
I've only done 102. I've only recently got to 100 mark. So, but with Exeter, I've only been doing every other weekend. So it's.
And what,
yeah, some people.
What was the most? Which ground was the most interesting, or one that you recommend? A bit quirky, a bit different to go to that you've come across so far.
I'd recommend Merthyr Town actually. I've been there once, and I went there once, and their supporters are brilliant. It's I've been on away days with them. They're genuinely, all clubs in non-league are brilliant, but Merthyr are definitely, their supporters are welcoming. I travelled all the way from Exeter up to Merthyr to watch the game, and they came all the way home again, and they're genuinely brilliant. And I really hope that they've, unfortunately, due to the Welsh government, can't play this season. So it's one club I'd be gutted not to see back on their feet after all this is done. So I fully recommend Merthyr, but I recommend any club to anyone. Really, it's fantastic.
No, I think that's the perfect way to end. Some brilliant questions, Nige. Again, thank you all for your time this evening, and hopefully we'll all be back soon. Good night, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night. Cheers,
These
guys.
are available from me on Twitter if anybody wants one. Find me on Twitter. I'm selling these, and I've got them myself to help the club. Cheers. Just get that in. Sorry, Stephen.
No worries at all. Good night, guys.
Cheers, guys.